Hello, I'm Nicholas Markey, physical therapist by day here at Beach Barbell Physical Therapy in Wilmington, North Carolina, and online fitness coach by night with my business Beach Barbell Training LLC. Anyways, today wanted to talk about kind of a simple way I like to set up and explain exercise therapy and rehab. Exercise therapy just being fancy talk for doing exercises to help with some sort of problem, maybe back pain or knee pain or whatever the person's dealing with. But essentially, doing quality physical therapy, one of the components, in my opinion, and at least high quality evidence is properly dosed exercise. So that means that um, the exercise is sufficiently challenging to elicit some sort of benefit. Um, you know, Obviously, if somebody's dealing with pain, you have a little bit of adjustments you may need to make, and that's where ideally the physical therapist comes in to help you make said adjustments. Um, and in reality, it's pretty simple, at least how I think about it. In a nutshell, someone comes up with X problem, say back pain, knee pain, whatever. Um, you're going to check out how they're moving, how the knee's moving, how it bends, how it extends, how it flexes, maybe how the hip and ankle are moving, the back is moving, how they can do things like squats or lunges, bending over, just whatever day-to-day normal movements, right? And then oftentimes it could be appropriate, sometimes it could be appropriate to try to have this person go through a sort of graded loading program. And just loading, just as simple, just means you're putting the body under load. Graded means you're going kind of little by little. Okay. So, proper exercise prescription being, a big component of high quality, valuable physical therapy would involve this graded loading. Now, are we necessarily challenging the muscles? Let's say, if somebody has pain, and like maybe they can only move, they can only lift, let's say 50%. Like if it's their knee, they can only lift 50% on the painful knee compared to the non-painful knee. You can probably make the assumption that maybe before this pain they were able to move closer, more or less 100% of the other side, right? Just an assumption, but it's a fair one. Um, your goal is to gradually load that part, that knee, in different ways so that this person can realize that strength that is potentially already there. Like we can think of maybe this pain and or your nervous system sort of protection system as a kind of like a governor, right? So you already have that governor in normal circumstances. For the most part, your body's not gonna like let you get to the far end extreme by yourself actively, in your own control, right? It's going to stop you before you can, destroy your tissues and stuff, right? The only time that it can't stop you is if you're out of control, right? Maybe you fall from a height that you just can't control the force that is now directed into your body, and then unfortunately you might, tear muscles and break bones. But when you're under control, your body is generally not going to let you get anywhere near that. So maybe normally your tissue tolerance, what it can handle load wise is here, and maybe it's got a governor like here. So this is as far as you can push it. Now, with consistent training, you will build up your actual muscles, but within probably the bounds of what you may see, most clients, patients going through physical therapy, you, they may not be in the condition where that may happen as much. Maybe depending on the case, maybe later on in therapy, if like it's an ACL injury, their quads are going to be kind of mush. But again, even in this example, over time, yeah, they're going to improve and strengthen the knee, like the knee extensions, or straightening the knee. But it's hard to say, is that because we've actually made the muscles better able to produce force, like the muscles themselves, or we just kind of help the body realize the strength that it already had. So it maybe doesn't matter. It could just be semantics, and I'm just kind of being pedantic semantic right now. But it's just something interesting to consider. But anyways, the main thing I wanted to talk about after 6 minutes in is just kind of a simple way I like to explain, this process. So somebody comes in, they've got, let's say keep using the knee pain example. Their left knee really hurts, right? They have a hard time doing stairs, maybe a hard time squatting, a hard time, bending the knee, whatever, right? So what after the assessment, having a better, clear picture of, kind of what the body's willing to do. That's just the best way to put it. Maybe not saying, oh, it's this strong or that weak or whatever, but what is the body and this person willing to do with that part, right? That knee, right? And we know that knee includes, yes, the muscles, the kneecap, the bone, the ligaments and tendons and all that, but it also includes all the nerves hooked into it that then feed this information all the way through the spinal cord up into the brain and different parts of the brain, and then all the parts in the brain that think about the knee and what the knee does and all your movements associated with the knee, and then all the nerves that go all the way back down to hook back up in the knee. So you got this big whole system that's working, right? I like to think of just, maybe choosing an exercise for this person, based on what we find. There's a little bit of guessing after the assessment, just kind of a reasonable guess, like I think this movement might work well. And then testing it and then actually seeing if it does or not. But I like to just kind of simply put the exercises in one of 3 buckets, and this is just for simplicity's sake. So one bucket would be maybe like the green bucket. Green bucket exercises are totally fine, don't feel any issue, and that can include literally everything else. So if we're dealing with a left knee issue, that could be exercises done with the right knee. That could be exercises done with the hips. That could be exercises done with the back. It could be exercises done with the arms, everything else, okay? Those are all green bucket, okay? And the reason why I like to bring that up is because a lot of times people will hurt one part of their body and then just stop everything else. Like they'll hurt their left knee and they'll stop doing all their exercises. No more overhead press, no more bench press, no stuff on the right knee. So, which is kind of silly. You should still train, even if you can just do absolutely nothing with the left knee that's hurting and a lot of pain, do stuff with all the other parts. You should still train, right? Yellow bucket exercises are kind of in the middle, are ones that maybe they notice something. It could be a little bit of pain, could just be feels a little weird, feels a little off, whatever. Just it's not like perfect, but it's tolerable and they're under control. So they're doing the movement, they're moving relatively smoothly, under control, and it's tolerable to them. So those are yellow bucket exercises. These exercises, I think, are where you're getting generally most of your gain from the physical therapy, because those are the ones you probably have to taper back. Let's say if, again, the knee example, maybe they're doing, right knee, they can do 100 pounds on the knee extension machine, but on the left knee, they can only do 40 pounds. That's just what they can handle. That would kind of be like a yellow bucket exercise, right? still can do it and should do it, and that's what maybe we need to focus on to help this left knee return back to a more, um, I guess equilateral or whatever term normal, quote unquote normal type of function. Um, and then that's where you can kind of build the exercises that you'll probably focus on in physical therapy. Green bucket exercise is still good, and I still have people do that with me because I think there's a lot of confidence boosting with that. So, majority of the physical therapy, or exercise therapy, progressive exercise therapy, right? We're going to make progress here, little by little, is done in these yellow and green buckets, right? And I keep it pretty simple when I'm doing the yellow bucket exercises or exercise in general. I just ask the person, "Are you okay?" I don't sit there and beg for some crazy ass pain number like, oh, is it 1 to 10 or is it a 3 or 3.5? Is it sharp? Blah 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 blah. All this silly stuff. Just, is it okay? Person can say yes or no. Simple question. Either they do it and they're like, yeah, it seems okay. Like, okay, cool, let's keep doing it. Or they say, yeah, it's a little rough. Okay, let's back it off or whatever. And then we got red bucket exercises. So red are exercises they do that um, just feel like garbage, feel like crap, just hurt a lot, whatever. Just did not feel right, maybe not under good control, just can't get those ones going. Those ones you just don't worry about. And I do find that sometimes people kind of more, I think, towards like the athlete spectrum, the more the people that are into training and stuff, sometimes maybe that's where they're banging their head against the wall because they're constantly trying to do these exercises that just keep pissing off the part that's pissed off, right? So don't do that. You don't need to do that. Now, how I look at it is, we're going to mostly focus on the yellow and green bucket exercises. Maybe the yellow bucket exercises are a little slower to progress. That's cool. Green bucket exercise, you can probably just progress, no big deal, because they feel totally fine. And then the red bucket exercises, maybe you just check those out every so often, right? Maybe you pull one out and go, hey, let's polish this one off and check it out. Maybe it's a yellow bucket exercise now. Maybe it's still red and we don't worry about it. We'll throw it back in. Or maybe we can pull it out. Maybe we can make an adjustment to it that actually ends up working out pretty well. The person's in good control and they can maybe kind of again turn it into a yellow bucket exercise. So that's just kind of my simple framework. So green bucket exercises are ones that feel totally fine, totally just like really nothing's wrong there. Generally can progress those pretty quickly through therapy. Yellow bucket exercises are the ones that maybe feel a little weird, maybe a little bit of pain, a little off, but tolerable, manageable, and still under good, decent control there. So those ones maybe progress a little slower, maybe you're just a little more cautious about kind of watching what you're doing, but generally people do okay with those ones. And then the red bucket exercises are the ones that just really suck for right now. We just don't need to worry about that. There's no single exercise that you have to do. Like, you don't have to do freaking back squat. Maybe there's totally different. Maybe you're just doing deadlifts for a while, or maybe find some variation. Maybe you get on the hack squat or the leg press, and that's what's you're gonna work your quads and your knees for now. And then maybe just take a break from the squats for a while if those are kind of in the red bucket territory. It's okay. The goal is to continue training in any way possible, really, that's tolerable and manageable. But let's be smart about it. Let's not keep, pissing off whatever's pissed off, right? And again, I'm not saying that it's like you're, injuring the body or whatever. We do know that pain and injury aren't so, perfectly well correlated. Injury can have pain, and, pain can exist without injury per se. Whatever we want to call an injury or damage, right? Pain can exist without damage. So we're not focused on that. We're just focused on what we can do. And our focus is going to be primarily on those yellow and green bucket exercises, and occasionally maybe testing out those red bucket exercises if we need to. And maybe you don't need to for a while. Maybe those are totally fine sticking in those red bucket for a while. But I do think there is some value in testing them even at just a really low level, right? Say someone's having a lot of trouble squatting, with like the, back squat, high bar back squat or something, but then you pull out the red bucket exercise and you just make them have them try air squats or something. Or maybe you find a modification, you have them try squats with their heels on elevated, and then that actually feels better. Or maybe you try squatting on a Smith machine, or like just the bajillion variations you could play around with, and then you just make work on progress on that particular one for a while, right? Especially that might run more be more important for somebody that maybe has to do it for a sport, right? Or maybe someone that is just really loves like certain exercise. So you want to try to figure out a way, is there a way we can kind of get relatively close to that exercise if possible, so that maybe you're kind of developing strength and a variation that then may help transfer and translate a little bit to their normal variation. Or maybe they do this cool new variation and they freaking love it and they just make that their new jam. So there's lots of options. That's the fun part, finding, what works for somebody, because again, there's no one way. The sheet of, you know, 9 or 10 exercises that they give you sometimes, it's kind of just bullshit. In my opinion, it just, again, some of those exercises might be reasonable for that person given their current state and condition, but just having like, what are the back pain exercises? Overhead press, bench press, back raises, bent over rows, machine rows, deadlifts, squat, everything. It's all good. And if that means that you're just doing these green and yellow exercises, and all the red exercises are exercises that like kind of use that part that's really pissed off, that's okay. Maybe we don't even worry about that, those ones for a while. So anyways, I thought this would be helpful because it's basically my spiel that I give to people when I'm talking about um, physical therapy and choosing exercises and stuff, and then helps kind of set the tone and the stage for the logic of what we're doing together when we, are picking exercises together. Um, and it's fun. So uh, let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Peace.